Good morning and aloha. I feel pretty good standing in this very sacred place, Foster Botanical Garden. It's our oldest botanical garden in the city and county of Honolulu. And as Misty mentioned, it is a very special place. These lands at one time belonged to Queen Kalama, the wife of Kamehameha III, a king who I believe is one of the most forward-looking leaders Hawaii has ever had, brought Hawaii forward into the modern times, and did so much for his people. And Queen Kalama loved this place so very much. Later, she deeded it over to Dr. Hillebrand. Dr. Hillebrand was the chief medical officer at Queen's Hospital, just founded by Queen Emma and her husband. Queen Emma, to me, is one of the most forward-looking women leaders in the history of Hawaii. She cared for her people. She fought to be the queen in a constitutional monarchy. She never gave up caring and loving for everyone. And if you look at the grounds of Queen's Hospital, in these grounds, what do you see in similarity? The trees. Incredible trees that were planted by Dr. Hillebrand over 150 years ago. Now, Dr. Hillebrand went back to Germany in the 1880s, and he transferred title of this property over to Malia Foster and Tom Foster. Malia Foster's sister was Victoria Ward, where our Blaisdell sits today, a Hapa Hawaiian lady who cared much for this place also. And Malia and Victoria played here, and they played down at the old plantation with the huge awai and fish ponds of that place. So we sit in a triangle between Foster Botanical Gardens, Queen's Hospital and their beautiful grounds, and Blaisdell, connected together with incredible, incredible trees. If you look just over here, this baobab tree from Africa, it's only 75 years old, but it looks to be hundreds of years old. And then right here, this tree is our city's tree, the golden shower, our cherry blossom. When they're blooming down King Street, it's as glorious as you see anywhere in the world. And you look over here, this massive tree up here, this is a guipo tree, 75 to 80 years old, but that girth looks like it's been here forever. But perhaps the oldest tree that we can see within this outdoor room is a tree behind us between those two tents. It's a skinny tree. It's a delicate tree, but it was planted by Dr. Hillebrand over 150 years ago, and it's called the Shao Mogra tree. It has special meaning, particularly for Native Hawaiians. Dr. Hillebrand brought that tree here and planted it because it helps to cure leprosy. And you know the story of Kalapapa, and you know the sadness of that place, and then the great hope by those who stepped up to help those who needed help most. And this tree was used as a partial cure, and it sits here as a reminder. It lives and breathes to this very day and tells part of the story of this place. When Malia Foster passed away in the 1930s, she dedicated this property to be a botanical garden forever to the city and county of Honolulu. More recently, in the 1960s, when I was growing up, we remember Joni Mitchell, and she wrote a song called The Big Yellow Taxi. It was a protest song, and it was a song of some sadness because she talked about paving parking lots in our paradise here in Hawaii, a place she loved, and putting all the trees in a tree museum. That museum is here. She was singing about Foster Botanical Garden. But I don't see this as a museum. Yes, it has incredible trees all around us, but it also has a presence to it, not just a past. You hear many voices. I just found out this morning that this Japanese lantern here was made by Ross Sasamura's wife's grandfather, and Ross Sasamura is a director of facility maintenance. There's a voice speaking here, right behind me, that's part of our city team. But listen, listen. How quiet. What voices are speaking now? Queen Kalama's voice? Kamehameha III's voice, Queen Emma's voice, Malia Foster and her sister Victoria Ward's voice. Listen, you can hear shama thrushes, you can hear other birds. Do you hear your voice? This place is about all of our voices, and I look at each and every one of you, the most diverse population that exists anywhere in the world. Your voices sing here today. Your stories, like the stories that I've mentioned, are present, and it's a powerful, powerful voice. Your voices thrive here because of how we take care of this land, and how we take care of the land makes sure that we as a people thrive. And this land thrives through good infrastructure. And that's why this administration is all about infrastructure, and more infrastructure. From the very beginning, when I took office, we committed to enhancing and restoring bus service. We committed to rebuilding our sewer system. We committed to repaving more roads than ever before. We committed to take better care of our parks, and that's why we're here this morning. And yes, we committed to build rail better. And then when we came into office, we also added homelessness to this list. But this is about taking care of our infrastructure so all of us on this very small place of 640 square miles, 1 million souls strong almost, live better. And I do want to talk first and foremost about rail. It is the big elephant in this very big outdoor room. And we need to talk about it. And as a politician, I'm not going to run from it. I'm not going to blame anyone. I'm not going to look backwards and say, why didn't you do this or that? I accept it's happening under my watch, and we all need to work together to figure out how we're going to address these cost increases. But it helps me, I love history, to look back. And so I went back and looked at what happened in 2005 when the legislature, through great courage, gave the city and county of Honolulu the authority to raise an excise tax surcharge by 0.5%. And in the final debates on the second day before the end of that session in 2005, the debate went like this. We don't know how much Hawaii's rail system is going to cost. We don't even know where the route's going to go. We don't have a system, a type of technology we're going to use. We haven't designed anything. We don't have a draft EIS or a final EIS. But one of our voices, our senior senator, Dan Inouye, told us after 40 years of designing systems and then voting on how to pay for it, and then running away from having to raise a tax is crazy. That's the definition of insanity. So he said, raise the money first and then design the system. The legislature said, we're going to listen to Senator Inouye, and we're going to give the city and county the authority without knowing how much it's going to cost for a system that is going to be called the locally preferred alternative, 26 miles. Once we started designing the system, once we got the federal commitment of $1.55 billion, we found out we did not have enough money to do the 26 miles. So we did what's called the minimum operating segment. That's 20 miles, and that's the one we're building. And things looked really good when we started. But because of delays in accepting the final EIS, and because of delays caused by lawsuits, which were going to come, we were now pushed into the hottest construction market in the history, in the hottest construction market in the United States. Our climb in construction cost is faster than New York City or LA, the two other very hot markets. So what do we do about this? We have three choices in my mind. The first choice is to extend the excise tax for some number of years. We're paying it now, and we continue to pay it to 2022, and we could extend it from then on, paying the same amount we pay today. Now, why do I like that choice? It's because our visitors pay 1/3 of that tax. $14 billion in revenue is collected every year in this state from our visitor industry. It is by far the largest segment, largest industry in our state. And they love coming here. And they don't complain about paying this surcharge. And I believe it's the fairest way. Because what happens if we don't do the excise tax extension. People say, Mayor, why don't you propose raising real property taxes? Something I absolutely do not want to do. Why? All of us sitting here today pay 100% of that to build rail. Why would I, as mayor, want to give the visitors a break and make all of us pay everything? Let's make the visitors pay the 1/3. I don't know if the city council will vote for a large increase in real property taxes on top of having to actually vote to extend the surcharge. That's 2 major hits they need to take. I don't know if they're willing to do that. I will put in the bills, but I think the choice needs to be excise tax. Thank you. The third choice is the one I just don't want to accept, but it is an alternative. Stop, don't build anymore, tear down what you built. That's crazy to me. We sit in gridlock every day. We made a promise to the folks on the west side. We made a promise to those folks moving to the Eva Plain. Under our general growth plan in the 1970s, we said 70% of all the growth on this island will occur in the Eva Plain. And then we doomed them with one freeway, with no other choice. And rail is about giving people a choice to get out of their cars and travel quickly and efficiently to and from Kapolei, the Eva Plain, into town and back. And it is about building an integrated multimodal transportation system that our capital city deserves and needs for the future. We are becoming not only the capital of this area, but a true capital of the Pacific Basin, and we need a multimodal integrated transportation system. And that's why the choice of stopping and going back 40 years with no other solution is unacceptable to me. So those are the choices we have. And I hope at the end of the day, after much debate and dialogue, that the legislature will give the authority to the City and County of Honolulu to extend the excise tax sufficient to cover the cost increase and complete the locally preferred alternative of 26 miles. Bus service. It's about bus and rail together, folks. It's an integrated system. And that's why I'm against taking any of this federal bus money to help build our rail system. $210 million. The council and I stand aligned on this issue. Can you imagine what it would do to our bus system? Our bus system is incredible. It's one of the 5 most heavily used in the United States of America. And it's the only system that's not tied to a rail system yet. 100,000 residents and visitors ride our bus every day. 225,000 rides taken every day. We are a mass transit riding community. It is a great system. It is about social justice and transportation equity for all of us. And because of this, we have worked hard to enhance and restore 9 bus routes since we come into office. The most recent one was a couple of months ago, the Makaha Country Express E. People were complaining from Makaha that they had to get up so early in the morning to come into town in Waikiki, to sit and wait for bus transfers in the dark at 4 in the morning, to sit and wait for bus transfers in the middle of the night going home after working a night shift cleaning rooms in Waikiki. That is not fair. So now we have an express bus direct into town into Waikiki to take care of our hardworking folks who take care of us. And we're doing even more. We are going to, in the next couple of weeks, unveil our first hybrid electric bus in the City and County of Honolulu and the state of Hawaii. It's going to be quiet so that folks in dense Kalihi on King Street don't have to hear a lot of noise when they're walking down the sidewalk. And our visitors on Kohio will not have to hear a lot of noise when the buses go by. It's going to be quiet, but it's also going to use a lot less fuel. And the emissions are so low that we're doing more for our environment and not contributing to global warming. I am so excited that we're beginning this course of bringing more hybrid electric buses to the City and County of Honolulu. And then we gave one of our buses to Mark Rigg of EMS. because they wanted to have a bus when there's a mass casualty event and they need to transport people from wherever the event occurs to the hospital, and how do they care for them? So we gave them a bus. It's been retrofitted with 24 beds. So if there's a really bad situation, they can go and get folks, put them in these beds, and treat them as they rush to the hospital. This is a good thing for all of us. Sewer. I love sewage. I tell you, without it, we're in big trouble. Some would say in big kukai. And here are some really cool things. One, since I took office, under the hardworking people at Environmental Services, we have rehabilitated 100 miles of sewer pipe infrastructure in 2 years. And we're not stopping. Here's one really cool thing. Just a couple weeks ago, we dedicated building a gigantic gravity flow sewer tunnel between Kaneohe and Kailua. It is 13 feet in diameter. And when we put the pipe in, it's going to be 10 feet. And instead of pumping sewage under pressure using electricity, sewage is going to flow by gravity from Kaneohe to Kailua to the sewage treatment facility. It has huge capacity, so in wet weather events, it can handle any water intrusion, so it doesn't empty out into bays and rivers and other places like that. I love this project. It's over $200 million. We have a puka in Kailua that goes 80 feet in diameter and 63 feet deep. And this pohaku right here came from that puka. And it reminds me of the hard-working men and women who are down there digging this tunnel 3 miles, 400 feet below Oniava Hills, so that we can live better on the windward side. I like touching it. It connects me to this place and to those people. Ala Moana Force Main. Now we are pumping sewage under pressure, and it ain't pretty if it breaks. But we are doing a good job of rebuilding that system so the folks in Waikiki and Kaka'ako can continue to live well, and we can build more hotel units and more housing for our people. And what is so darn cool is we have now built a pipe that goes down on one side of Honolulu Harbor, underneath the harbor entrance, and up to the other side to Sand Island. That is pretty darn cool. And I have to say, we're doing incredible stuff regarding sewage. Finally, something I'm really excited about, and here's new news. Come April or May of this year, we are going to be burning our sludge at H-Power, generating electricity. Some of you may wonder, what is sludge? Sludge is what's left over after you treat the sewage. It's a very viscous, almost like mud. It's not that good smelling. And right now it goes into our landfill at Waimanalo Gulch. We don't want to do that anymore. We don't want to put more stuff in our landfill. We want less stuff. And right now, about 92 to 93% of all the opala we generate on this island is either burned or recycled. We lead the nation in terms of large municipalities treating our garbage in a better way. But now we're going to treat our sludge in a better way by putting it into our H-Power, burning it, and generating electricity, and not having to import more oil and ship our dollars off. And I can't wait to shovel that first shovel of sludge into the H-Power facility. Our fourth priority, road repaving. We continue to go gangbusters. When you think about it, in just 2 years, we've repaved over 700 lane miles of our roads around this island. 700. I don't think any administration, federal, state, county, ever has repaved that many roads in just 2 years. We have 800 more to go in 3 years. And I hope we finish before then, but we're not stopping. It is a fantastic thing that we're doing. And here's what we're doing right now. As you know, we're repaving Atkinson on one end of Waikiki and Kapahulu on the other. And when it's POW, it's going to make riding on these major streets smooth and easy for everyone. And Beretania, which we started, a major thoroughfare, one of our oldest streets, built in 1900. we started to repave it. We did the bus pads, and when we started to pull off the asphalt, within just a half an inch, we found utility lines, we found gas lines, we even found one of Lori Kahikina's sewage systems from 1900, just less than a couple of inches from the surface. Now, to do it right, we'd have to delay and really dig up that road and spend months, if not years, driving the driving public crazy. And we're doing so many roads and so many other construction projects. We stopped, we evaluated, and now we've announced today that we're going to start repaving, but we're going to just repave the top 3 inches, which is called mill and fill. We're going to do that first and work on relocating those utilities deep enough in the coming years. So in 7 or 8 years from now, we'll come back when all the other roads are finished, when rail is finished, and when all this major construction is finished. Because we care about all the public, and we're not afraid to change what we're going to do when we see a better way to go. Finally, what are we doing right now on road repaving? We're in Kalihi, we're in Kamehameha Heights, we're in Kaneohe, we're in Palolo, we're on the North Shore, we're in Hawaii Kai, we're everywhere around the island. And this coming year, in the budget we're going to be submitting next week, we are going to be putting $110 million into our road repaving program for the coming year. That's down from $150 million in our first year and down from $130 million in the second year. And why is that? We want to use the money we absolutely need to use, and we don't need as much to continue to meet our goals of repaving more roads. And in the coming year, we're going to be in Waianae, we're going to be in Nanakuli, and we're going to be in Maili, because we're not turning our backs on the west side either. When I ran, I said I wanted to be the mayor for every side, including the west side. Our 5th priority are parks. We sit in one of them today. God, and it's getting more beautiful as the sun goes higher in the sky. We have over 5,000 acres of parks, 300 parks around this island. And we need to show them greater love and greater care. They are our front doors. They are our backyards. We need to treat them like our yards and not a place to be trashed and not loved and not to be taken care of. And that's why today I'm announcing a pakakako for our parks. Now, what does a pakakako mean? It means our parks together. Yes, we in the city government need to step up and do more for our parks, but we need our community to step up with us together to take care of these parks. And so we're initiating a 2-prong approach with this new pakakako initiative. The first prong is more money. We're dedicating $2 million more above our CIP funding, dedicated to do this. 24 restrooms around in parks around this island are going to be refurbished over the next year. 2 a month. What does that mean? It means going into the restroom, fixing spalding, replacing concrete, putting in new tiles, putting in new fixtures, power washing everything so the tiles sparkle again, and then microguarding it. It's like putting this coat on it so it can clean easily and it doesn't smell. So we can keep those bathrooms looking great. The second part of it is we're choosing 16 parks where there's playground apparatus that are falling apart or damaged through vandalism. And we're going to restore them and make them new again. These are the 2 parts: 24 bathrooms, 16 playground apparatus. And what we're going to do is we're going to tell you which parks we're going to do it in. We're going to show you before and after pictures. We're going to post it on our website, and you can measure our success and see what it looks like. And the first two bathrooms we're going to be doing is Asing Community Park in Ewa Beach. Kim Pine would be happy if she was here. And Kawananakoa Neighborhood Park in Paoa. I don't know if Carol Fukunaga's here, but she'll be happy about that too. And the first playground that we're going to do is Kamiluiki Community Park in Hawaii Kai. But that's just the first prong. The second prong is a kako thing. It's about getting people to step up to help. Because this improvement will not last unless the community steps up and says, that is our bathroom. This is our playground. We don't like what you're doing to this place. This is like doing something to our own playground in our yard or our own bathroom. Stop, or we're calling the police. We're going to make sure that we malama this place. This is the 30th anniversary of the Adopt a Park program, but we want to really strengthen it and build it up. So as we choose these bathrooms and these playgrounds, we're going to reach out to the folks in the community, whether it be the Hawaiian Civic Clubs, the canoe clubs, neighborhood boards, school teams, sports teams. We're going to say, please come and help, and then please watch and stop. If we can do this, we can make a huge difference, and it can work because we saw it happen recently in Haleiwa Ali'i Beach Park. The community out there was screaming for better care for this park. The surf center out there that was built by Baywatch years ago was falling down. Homelessness was rampant. People were not treating this park well. And so the community stepped forward. They repainted the surf center. They trimmed the naupaka bushes and the hau bushes. They painted the parking lots and the curbs. They have beach cleanups on a weekly basis. And then they go back and have picnics and look around and say, wow, look at what we've done. It looks so great. And they feel good. And because they care so much, the community has started to care too. And so that park continues to look better. So we want to see the Haleiwa Ali'i Beach Park program implemented at all the places we go to fix up bathrooms and playground equipment. At the end of the day, it is about we step up, you step up. We all win. And I'm asking all of us to step up. The sixth priority deals with homelessness. Highly controversial, get criticized for things we do, either on the enforcement side or not doing enough on the compassion side. But as mayor, I don't run from the problem. I don't say it's someone else's problem. I recognize it's happening under my watch, and we all need to work together. But we were told by providers when I became mayor that if we allow homeless people to stay on our sidewalks and in our malls and in our parks and non-approved camping areas, we're enabling that kind of activity. And folks will not move into shelters where they can get cared for and helped. And Chief Kealoha knows this. It's not safe on our streets and roads at night. Because since I've been mayor, 7 homeless have killed 7 homeless on our streets. And no one has been killed in any shelter. And we want our homeless to go into shelters. And through this compassionate disruption, providers have told us there's been a great uptick in people moving into shelters. So through Sit-Lie in Waikiki first, and Sit-Lie in downtown and Chinatown and other commercial districts around our island, and now Sit-Lie in our malls downtown and in Chinatown, we are making a difference. And people say Waikiki looks better. And we're using stored property ordinance and sidewalk nuisance to also do it in other places around our community. And Ross Sasamora and his team, since we took office, have collected now 323 tons of stuff from our sidewalks and malls. 323 tons. Can you imagine what that would look, or what our community would look like if we weren't picking up all of that opala? I've been told that if we brought those 323 tons to this great outdoor room and filled this area, it would be 30 feet high, the entire park. Think about that. We need to continue to do this. But at the same time, we need to show compassion. How we treat our homeless says much about who we are as a people. And I think we do have compassion, great compassion. And here's what we're doing on the compassion side. We are embracing the housing first model that the federal government is pushing around this country. That means we find chronic homeless individuals, we put them into a house, an apartment first, and then say, get better. Deal with your drugs, drug addictions, your alcohol addictions, and your mental illness. We'll provide that support. We'll help you to get better, and then you can get back on your feet again. It works. We made a commitment to house 400 folks in the next couple of years. We made a commitment to house 115 by the end of this year. We're at 31 homeless individuals and families as of today. I'm also very proud of this fact on the compassion side. The folks in Chinatown have been screaming for a true public restroom for years. And now we've opened one up at Pauahi Hale. We call it the Hygiene Center. It's the very first one in the entire state of Hawaii. And what is so cool about it? If you're a homeless person and you want to get cleaned up, you go to Pauahi Hale, you check in, they'll give you a towel, they'll give you shampoo, they'll give you soap, they'll give you a razor and shaving cream, a toothbrush and toothpaste, and say, go take a shower. Get cleaned up and come back again tomorrow if you want another shower. This is about compassion and helping those who need help the most. And we're doing that right smack dab in Chinatown, just a few blocks from here. The other thing we're doing is we have our first 24/7 restroom open in Waikiki. It was a pilot. It's working. We found that, yes, homeless folks use it, but visitors use it too when they come out of nightclubs late at night and they got to go she. But we're also finding that our local folks use it, the Dawn Patrol surf group, guys who want to walk on the beach and with their honeys in the full moon, got to use the bathroom, they have a place to use the restroom. So we're working with the Waikiki Business Improvement Association to continue this for another year. And so we have put in our fiscal year 16 budget money to partner up with the WBID to keep this restroom open for another year. In addition, as you know, we have the Strategic Development Office now open. It's under the Department of Community Services, but it reports to the mayor's office. And they're tasked with making sure they manage all of our physical assets, but also housing first and our affordable housing initiatives. Finally, when I went to Washington last month, I took the pledge. I took the pledge as a mayor of one of 25 of the largest cities in the country to end chronic veterans homelessness by the end of this year. Our veterans went abroad, served multiple tours of duty, put their lives on the line for all of us, came back and have had a hard time integrating back into our community, and they've fallen by the wayside. We're going to reach out and bring them back in and say thank you by housing them in a housing first model. Finally, we are putting money in our budget, in the fiscal year 16 budget, to create 3 new positions that are going to focus exclusively on homelessness to make sure that we hit all the goals and targets we've set for ourselves on the homelessness issue. Those are our 6 priorities. And I want to talk just about a few other things. Last year, remember, we announced that we're going to replace all of our 51,000 street lights with LED lights. And we had Misty Kalai stand under a light and turn it on, and she shined and sparkled, and she even did an aria, I think. Yeah, she's doing it again. It's the right thing to do. It saves energy, more than a third. It creates a brighter light. It makes it safer for our pedestrians. As you know, we rank first in the nation for killing seniors in crosswalks. Shame. Shame, and we need to do more. So we've been working hard because this is a big effort. And we've now put out the RFP. We're going to be opening the RFP next month in March. And then we're going to begin replacing those old-fashioned lights with bright, directed LED lights. They're going to save a lot of energy and help us become more green and sustainable. I wanted to talk about some new appointments next, more of looking forward. We couldn't do the job that I've described under our 6 priorities unless the 8,500 hardworking civil servants, part of our city team, didn't get up every morning and go to work to deliver. And they do. And what they do helps us get to the goals that we have set. In addition, we have an incredible team in the mayor's cabinet and the deputy directors, all of who are here today. I call them our poi pounders. There's no tantaran here. There's no showing off. They just come in, they do the work, they get the job done, they pound the poi, they feed our people. And I want to thank all of them for their hard work and dedication. At every cabinet meeting, I end with, you can ask the two chiefs of fire and police, I say, thank you for working hard the past week. Go out and work hard this coming week and move the needle. Make a difference. It's kind of like saying, say no can, you got a can, right, Shan? We can. And I know Shan can too. But we are all about can and not no can. We can't do it without the great team we have. And I'm very proud that Roy Amamiya has agreed and has now been confirmed as our new managing director. Roy, if you could please stand and be recognized. You know, we are so lucky to have Roy. He worked at two of the largest local banks in Hawaii. He understands finance and he understands the private sector. He was the budget director under Mayor Harris. He understands the budget and he understands government. But here's what I like almost more. Before he agreed to take this job, he was the CEO of Olelo. Now, Olelo is that television station that brings government to the people and the people to government. It's about openness and transparency. It's about being an open book. This administration is about that. And we now have a managing director who understands that, knows how to operate it, is going to make sure that we are an open and transparent government. He also comes from a family of public servants. The Amamiya clan runs far and wide, and they've done much for our community. But I also like the fact he's from Wahiawa. One town over from Waipahu, my hometown. Second, we've been looking for a new director of community services for a while. And finally, we realized the best man for the job is on the job. And that's Gary Nakata, the deputy director. Gary, please stand up and be recognized. He has a lot of passion and compassion, and we know he's going to continue to work really hard. Third, our zoo. There's been a lot of talk about the zoo and the city not showing enough love. But I want to assure everyone, this city and county government loves our zoo. I know the people of this island love our zoo, 1 million strong. I think the people of the state love this zoo. When I was a kid growing up in Hilo, if we came here, we always went to the zoo, checked things out before Panaeva Zoo got started. And it's a great place. But we need a zoo director who is committed to staying for the long haul, who loves the place, who's not going to quit and then talk stink. Enough of that, in my mind. And so we have found a new zoo director and our assistant director, and as Baird Fleming, our new zoo director. Baird, please stand up and be recognized. You can see he's a young man with a young family. He loves this place. He's not leaving. Right, Baird? We got you on the record. But I've walked with him around the zoo many times. You can see he loves the animals. But what I see even more, he loves the keepers who take care of the animals. And he's going to do an excellent job and help us show more love for the zoo. Thank you so much, Baird, for stepping up. Finally, before I conclude, I wanted to talk about fiscal prudence and austerity. We're doing a lot of stuff, right? You guys are saying, wow, man, you're spending our money, you're building sewers, repaving roads, doing all of these things. You must be spending a lot of money. We've committed to watch the money. And so in the first 2 years of my administration, our spending is flat. Now, how do we do all these new initiatives and still make spending flat? And this is after collective bargaining increases because of furlough Fridays ending and because of these new programs. We're doing it by watching how we spend every dollar. And we're doing some new things that have never been done before. One, last year we implemented zero-based budgeting. First time that any government in Hawaii has done that. So in doing it the old way where, what was your budget last year? This much? How much more do you need? We say your budget is zero and you got to justify every dollar you want, which means we spend more efficiently, more effectively. The private sector does this, we're doing it. And then the second one is performance metrics, something the private sector does too. We want you to get your money based on your performance. And so to start the program, we're picking customer service because we believe that customer service is the best way to touch the people and make sure we treat them well. Showing more great fiscal prudence, and something I hope the council agrees with too. This coming budget in fiscal year 16, which we're going to submit to the council next week, we are putting $30 million more into our rainy day fund. $10 million more than we did last year. We're committed for saving for the future. We're doing pretty well today. And instead of spending it all, we want to save it. And I know that money sparkles out there for everyone's favorite projects, but I hope it stays right there in the rainy day fund. Secondly, we've heard a lot about our unfunded liability for retirement costs and healthcare costs. And we want to fund that requirement. The state legislature passed a law last year that requires that we fund it at 40%. In this fiscal year 16 budget, something new, we're funding it at 77% because we want to get further ahead than we have to, so that when it's once funded, it becomes sustainable and we don't have to put more money into it. And this is going to be way beyond my time as mayor, but it's the absolute right thing to do. And we're asking that the council show the same fiscal discipline that we have shown to keep that money there and not be touched. A couple other looking forward initiatives. Just going to touch on them. Affordable housing. The Star Advertiser had a great article in the Sunday paper about our affordable housing initiative. Three-pronged. Accessory dwelling units is prong one. We're going to allow small second homes of about 500 square feet on lots about 20,000 strong. That's a lot more affordable rental units. We're excited about it. The second part is transit-oriented development. We're going to really incentivize building more affordable housing around our train stations. And then finally, we're going to be putting in legislation requiring developers to build more to the market where the greatest demand is. And 80% of the demand for housing is in an area where families of four make only $76,000. And we're going to ask them to build to that market and not to the higher market where the demand is less. Age-friendly cities. One of my strong supporters and dear friends said, you need to become an age-friendly city when I got elected. We listened and we marched forward, and we're continuing with this age-friendly initiative. We just a couple weeks ago had a seminar, a conference in the Japanese Cultural Center. Over 500 folks attended. We're now putting together the report on the next steps to make us a more friendly city for our kupuna and our keiki. It's not a report to sit on a shelf. It's about actually doing things so we live better in the city and county of Honolulu. Finally, Blaisdell. She just became 50 years old. Yes, Elvis, last performance has been 50 years since then, and she's showing her age. And what do? Do we pour more money into an aging facility? Do we tear it all down? Do we rebuild parts of it? Do we pull it back and open up the Owai again in the ancient Hawaiian fish ponds? What do? We've hired some of the best and brightest from around the country to work with all of us and then to reach out to the community to say, what do you want to see our Blaisdell for the next 50 years look like? I'm excited about this and can't wait to see what the proposals are. So we've talked a lot about change this morning, and we're dealing with it. I tell you, rail is controversial. Homelessness is controversial. But something that's more controversial than all of that is a protected bike lane on King Street. I've never seen more letters to the editor for and against. I've never seen more TV stations down there covering people riding and not riding. I've never seen the paper cover something more than this protected bike lane. And Mike Formby and I, the Director of Transportation Services, when we started talking about this as a pilot, we said, do you think some of the guys driving cars are going to be upset? And we said, probably. But we didn't know they're going to be that upset. But here's what we found out. You know, to make a difference in our community, we need to embrace change. It happens anyway. And how do we embrace change and go in a direction where we live better? And I do believe multimodal transportation means protected bike lanes too. And I believe that if we stay the course, maybe 50 years from now, we'll ride like they ride in Europe. We'll ride like they ride in Asia. They'll also drive, they'll take the train, they'll walk, and maybe other modes of transportation. But we can't let fear hold us back. If we're really going to thrive in a place like this, it is about taking bold initiatives. It's about trying new things and new infrastructure. It's about taking care of this land, and in turn, taking care of all of us. You know, it's been 2 years, and I don't have a regret every morning when I wake up that I'm mayor. Even on the worst days of rail, I wake up and say, I am so darn lucky and humbled by the opportunity to serve the people of this community. I think it is the most beautiful place in the world. Look where we sit today. In the middle of paradise, in the middle of downtown Honolulu. You drive up to Nu'uanu, you're in virgin rainforest. In 5 minutes, you drive down to the harbor and you can go stand at the edge of harbor and you'll see more shuttles in Hinalea and Papio swimming around. What other place has that? God gave us good bone structure. But what's more important are the people here in this room and around this island. I look at your faces looking at me, and there is no one in the majority. And each of you, just like the voices here in this great botanical garden, tell many stories. The Native Hawaiians allowed the rest of us to come and thrive. And we tell our stories together. You go to different things, whether it be Chinese New Year or New Year's or any other of the special events, and we want to hear your story. Really want to hear it. And we want to share ours, and you want to hear ours too. What a place. Nowhere else on the earth has the type of diversity that we have. And I get to be the mayor of this place. I am so lucky. It's the best public servant job you can have anywhere in the world. And I can make a difference with all of you. So I'm asking you to travel with me, to continue this journey, to weigh in, to get upset when you think we're not doing the right things, but to stick with us and help us become a better community. I want to thank each and every one of you, for those here and for those watching on TV. And I want to let you know that we have great love for all of you. We want to do the right thing. Mahalo and aloha. Love all of you. Thank you.